insects is 84% of the biomass insects are dead in the last 70 years, 84%. So if all the insects disappear tomorrow morning, in another 4.5 to 6 years, every life on the planet, including you and me, will be clean wiped out. If all the worms disappear, in 2.5 to 4 years, every life on the planet, including you and me, will be gone. If all the microbial planet disappears right now, we will end right now. 60% of your very body is microbial life. Only 40% is your parental genetics. This little girl in one of the cities that I was traveling, she came to me, Sadhguru, I want to do SaveSoil, my mother won't let me, she won't let me even learn the la-la-le-le-le. She is telling me, do homework. I said, you tell your mother she's only 20%. 60% microbial life, 20% your father, she's only 20%, she can tell you that much. This is important that we understand this. Your children don't come from you, they come through you, it's a great privilege. And once we have children, that means we are concerned about the future. Hello? That's a statement. Hello? That is a statement that we don't want this life or this human race to end with me. We want this to go on, that's what it means, children. I was in Tbilisi. In the morning, one TV journalist is interviewing me and he says, Sadhguru, in Georgia, we are not interested in the future, we are interested in our jobs, we are interested in our gas price and this and that and war. I said, that is fine. If you're not at all interested in future, that is fine. This is all coming from these silly ideas of be in the moment. It got you also in Jordan? Huh? You also? Oh. So I said, see, this is fine if you're not at all interested in future. But do one thing as a nation, stop having children, because once you have children, you have expressed that you're concerned about the future. Hello? Yes. Because once you have a child, it's a 20-year project. If you're not ready for a 20-year project, you should not go for it. It's 20 years only if they do well. If they don't do well, it's a lifelong project. So this aspect of we thinking we are supremely important, we must understand this. If the insects die, in 4 to 6 years everything will end. If the worms die, in 2 to 4 years everything will end. If all of us disappear, planet will flourish, we better know that. So other life is not happening because of us. Because of them we are happening. We are just a consequence of that microscopic life. Where did we get this sense of self-significance? Oh, all the human suffering that's happening, where do you think it's manufactured? In Jordan? Hello? Where is it manufactured? No, you didn't hear that. Every day I meet so many thousands of people, the varieties of sufferings that people have invented is unbelievable. If they're poor, they suffer the poverty. If they become rich, they suffer the taxes. If they're uneducated, they suffer that. Put them to school, daily suffering. If they're not married, they suffer that. Get them married. I didn't say anything. I did not say anything. No children, they suffer that. Give them children, daily pain in the neck. So what is it that they're not suffering? They're suffering everything, they're suffering life itself. Offer them death, they'll suffer that. So the problem is this, The problem is not of life. The problem is you have not even learned how to manage your mind. When will you learn this? You are 25, 30, 50, 60 years of age, you have still not learned how to use your thought and emotion for your well-being. When will you learn this? I just want to know in Jordan, what is your life expectancy? Are you 10,000 years or something? Hello? Then when will you learn? By 30, 40, 50, if you have not learned how to use your thought and emotion the way you want, when is it? See, it's like this. Suppose please make a fist with your right hand, all of you. And now bong, 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 start it. Suppose your right hand starts hitting you. What to do? If you have a friend or family, they will hold you, no, 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 don't do this, don't do this. But chun, chun, chun. Then if nothing works, they will tie this hand to the chair. If that also doesn't work, maybe we'll have to amputate this hand, otherwise you'll kill yourself. Right now, that's all that's happening with human beings. They don't know how to use their own thought and emotion, bong, 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 hitting in the face all the time, sit down, stand up, they're suffering something. Hello? Now to alleviate this suffering, they're digging up the planet, turning it upside down, in search of happiness, in search of well-being. Just reminding you, whether it is pain or pleasure, joy or misery, agony or ecstasy, even light or darkness only happens within you. Yes or no? Hello? Hello? It only happens within you. What happens within you must happen your way, isn't it? Hello? That person won't happen your way, this person won't happen your way, that person won't happen you… I know you tried. You try to make some people just the way you want them. I know what's the result. Because nobody in this world will ever happen 100% the way you want them. Have you found anybody like that? Or are you still such a hopeless romantic, you're looking? No, you will never find them. You know, in India, there are stories like this. People always say in the villages, wives complaining about their husbands because whatever, whosever fault it is, it doesn't matter. Complaints are there from both ends. So they say, oh, you know what? Krishna was God himself, but his own wives were complaining all the time. Even they were complaining. So it doesn't matter who you find, what you find, nothing will ever happen 100% your way. But this one person must happen your way, isn't it? Hello? If you happen the way you want, would you keep yourself blissed out or miserable? Tell me, you must choose, I'm going to bless you. Blissed out or miserable? Hey, you must choose. Some of you are not choosing, this is the problem. Because you don't understand your present condition of joy or misery, agony or ecstasy is only a question of choice. And that choice has not been made, either within or outside. I'm asking, in which country have at least 60% of the population stood up and expressed that we are concerned about the future well-being of this nation, we are concerned about the future well-being of our children, we are concerned about the environment in this country. In which country have they spoken? They will speak chu like gossip in a tea party or in a dinner party, they will talk and go and sleep. Hello? In which country have people, at least 60% of the adults have raised their voice and said, we are concerned? You don't have to fight, at least you must express. Because every government in the world, whether you understand this or not, whatever type of government you have, one way or the other, they are only trying to fulfill people's mandate. If the people do not express what they want, that will not happen. No single country has anywhere people have expressed. Small groups talking, When they talk also, they all in full anger and resentment, they say war on climate change. God damn it, climate change is bad enough, don't start a war now. And you go on the street in great anger and resentment and shout at everybody. If you get angry, it definitely will cause global warming, isn't it? Hello? Did it happen in your home or no? When you got angry, it caused warming? This is not an agitation. This is not a protest. This is not a fight for sure. This is an expression of our love and responsibility for the very life that we are and every other life that support us and the future life that should be on this planet. If we have no emotion, no focused thought towards our own well-being, our well-being will be accidental, isn't it? People are always looking at other planets and stars, what is going to happen to my life? Please, God damn it, look at this planet. What happens to this planet will happen to your life for sure. Where the other planets are going, where the stars are going, whether that'll influence you or not, you can debate. But what happens to this planet will definitely determine the quality of your life. Right now, every responsible scientist is pointing out by 2045, we will be producing 40% less food and our population will be over 9 billion people. That's not a world you want to live in. That's not a world where you want to leave your children and go for sure. Hello? Now, they were all talking about water stress. You have the distinction of being number 2. That's not a thing to celebrate. But I'm telling you, by 2032 it is expected that 3.5 billion people on the planet will be water stressed. And this will trigger mass migrations. They're expecting by 2032 to 2035, we will have about 1.2 billion people migrating in the world, mainly because of degraded soils and water stress. And those times are gone when people are thirsty, they just sat in one place and died because they did not know what is happening in some other place. Today everybody is informed, everybody is seeing where it is, everybody has some means of transport and they will travel. Migration. When it is unplanned, forced migration like this, the amount of suffering that human being will go through will never be reported. If 1,000 people die, somebody will write about it. But the suffering that the living go through is worse than the death, especially women and children. The worst suffering during migration happens to women. Worst exploitation happens to women. A stable society is very, very, very essential if women on this planet have to live well. Wherever there is any kind of strife, suffering first comes to the woman, always. This is why the past has been like this, because of so much strife. For the first time, we have come to a place where almost every piece of geography has some kind of a government of its own. And every piece of geography on the planet, every human being belongs to some administrative entity that you call as a government or a nation. This is the first time that we are this organized. This is the first time we have technologies and capabilities which were never before. This is the first time where man's muscle is not the only power on the planet. Because of that, women have equal possibilities in this world. Don't think it is because of some great evolution. It is just technology has taken away the significance of man's muscle. It's important that it stays that way, but once there is food strife, once there is water strife, then once again it will come back. Who has more muscle will rule the world. I want all of you to remember this. Whoever has more muscle will rule the world, whether the muscle is in the form of human muscle or arms and armaments, whatever, whoever has more muscle will rule the world. Wherever muscle rules, it is ugly. Hello? So it's a crucial moment in our life, it's a crucial moment in this generation's life, it's a crucial moment in the history of humanity that we are in a cusp of time where if we act now, in the next 10 to 15 years' time, we can turn this situation around significantly. But if you allow it to simply go as it is for another 25 to 30 years, it will become very difficult. If we allow it to go for another 35 to 40 years, it will become nearly impossible because according to UNFAO right now, the average loss of biodiversity per year is 27,000 species per year. 27,000 species of organisms are going extinct per year. If you allow this to happen for another 30 to 35 years, it'll become nearly impossible to turn this around. So we are in this moment of history where if we do the right things, we could be that generation which turned back from the brink of a disaster, or we could be that generation which slept through and fell into a disaster, and of course, those who lived through that will cry later, will grieve over it later. I'm saying this because this has been the unfortunate history of most societies on the planet. Every time there is a war, every time we manufacture widows and orphans in the world, we will cry about it. We will say, never again this will happen. But within a few years, we are at it the same damn thing, again and again and again all over the world. This is happening because we have a way of sleeping through the problems. Only when it bursts open in front of us, then we cry. If we sleep through this, is sleep a crime? Hello? Is sleep a crime? No. But if you sleep through your life, you're a disaster. And I want you to know a disaster is always worse than a crime. Crime causes small damage, disaster means widespread damage. But if we sleep through our life, that's what will happen. And right now we are at this crucial juncture where as a generation, we have the power to turn it around or let it by. It's my wish and my blessing that as a generation, we must turn this around. If you look at the faces of your children, what does your heart speak? I don't know. How much ever wealth you have, how much ever education you have, how much ever access to money you have, believe me, once there are food shortages, all this will mean nothing. I want you to just imagine a situation. Let's say in this city, 40% of the people don't have food to eat. What do you think will happen? If they look at you and you're well-fed, you think they will let you walk on the street? Terrible things will happen. Your civilization, what could be built over 1,000 years can be pulled down in 3 days of food shortages. Your very humanity will evaporate because this is what has happened in the past. This is not new to us. Famines have happened in the past. Hundreds and thousands of people have died of famines. At those times, terrible things happened, which human beings should not see, definitely should not do once again. After all this technology, after this infrastructure, education, capabilities that we have built, once again if we drive ourselves into a famine, this is the dumbest thing we have done in our life. Hello? But famines are not far away because this year itself, last year in 2021, the World Food Programme distributed food worth $9 billion. This year they want $15 billion. 2023, they want $22 billion. You think you can solve the world's problem going on distributing food like this all over the world? You think it's a possibility? Unless food grows where people are, there is really no solution. If that has to happen, the soil has to be rich. There is no other way. There is simply no other way. Soil where we live must have the necessary richness. Richness means it must be alive, it's a living entity. It is the largest living system, not just on this planet, it is the largest living system in the known universe. Nowhere else is there a substance like soil. It is magic. It makes… mud becomes food. It is not a small thing. It is truly magical, isn't it? Hello? One day I want you to try this. One day instead of food, just eat mud. Just eat mud, one meal. You will understand what I'm talking. If we don't keep that rich, that is what we will be eating. I had a very disturbing scene yesterday. I was in the desert near Aqaba. I saw this camel eating up its own dung. I felt so bad for this animal. What is happening? Because whether it's a human being or an animal, they have necessary intelligence not to do such things. It is eating up its own dung. I thought, what the hell is happening? And I looked around, nowhere there is one speck of green. The only green thing is his dung. I'm saying, let's not drive ourselves to this situation, because within a few decades, 2 to 3 decades, we could drive ourselves that we could be that camel. Yes, I want you to understand, when famines have struck societies, terrible things have happened. Terrible things means there have been hundreds of incidences around the world where people have chopped off their own children's hands and eaten it to survive. Do we want to take humanity in that direction? We should never drive humanity into that place. It doesn't matter which country it is, which religion it is, which race it is, nobody should go there. This much humanity we must have for every living being on this planet. It happened one day. This was in 2060. On that day, a group of scientists sought an appointment with God. They got the appointment, they went there, and then they said, "Hey, old man, you've done pretty well with creation, but everything that you can do, we can also do. Time you retire." God said, "Oh, is that so? What is it that you can do?" They said, "Look at this." And they dug up some soil, made a vague image of a human child, they did all kinds of things, and the child came alive. God said, "That's very impressive, but first get your own soil." You may do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You cannot replace anything with… you cannot replace soil with anything. Do not misunderstand, there is some technology somewhere. Technologies can enhance application. Technologies cannot create the basic source. The body that you have is soil, the clothes that you wear is soil, the furniture that you sit upon is soil, just about anything that you touch, every life that you see around you is soil. And we have brought that to its knees. 52% of the world's soil is degraded. Not one country has an average of 3%, which is seen as the minimum to keep soil alive. Minimum to keep soil alive or to call soil as soil is 3% organic content. Not a single country in the world has 3% average. Northern Europe has 1.48%, Southern Europe has 1.1 to 1.2%, India has 0.68%, Africa has 0.3%, United States of America has 1.25 to 1.3%. Not a single nation in the world has an average of 3%. We must, in this generation, aim at creating an average of 3% organic content. If this needs to happen, I beg all the policymakers and the scientists, the well-being of the soil, the aliveness of the soil, and the many other complex aspects that are there to agroeconomy, these two things must be separated if we want action on the ground. Otherwise, we will have only conferences and conferences. Anyway, in a week or so, I am speaking at the COP15, where 197 nations have their representatives participating. By then, if you get me over 3 billion to 3.5 billion people talking about soil, in many ways, this is a done thing. We can push it with the governments. There are many steps further, but at least we can change the narrative. First thing is to change the narrative. The way we think and feel must change before our action changes, right? How we think and feel must change, then only our actions will change. If every one of us is conscious that soil is a living entity and we express our concern for that entity because 52% of the world's soil is degraded, if you can get 3 to 4 billion people to express that, all of you are sitting with this very smart companion. I'm not talking about your husband or wife, you know. Your very smart companion. Put that companion to work. Every day if you spend 15–20 minutes, just this many people can reach 3 to 4 billion people, just believe me. Yes or no? Yes. The question is only, will we do it or not? The question is only, will we do it or not? Okay. That's great. Thank you very much. And I can take 1 or 2 questions if somebody has an important question. It need not necessarily about soil, anything. If you get me this many people who are here today, I will reduce the goals for you because already we have… in our estimates, many experts are telling us we easily could have touched somewhere around 1.3 billion people. Right now, in this, if the people of Amman take this up and in the next 1 week to 15 days, if you touch 1 billion people, that they don't have to support our movement or me or something, they have to say something about soil, their concern for soil, their concern for life on this planet. If you get them to say it, I will promise you, within the next 18 months, I will visit your city once again. That is only if I hear wherever I go the voice of Aman reverberating across the world, if you make that happen, you will see me again. Please, if you have a question, who? Yeah, please, that lady. Who has got the microphone, please.
Hi.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hi, how are you? My name is Zaid. I'd like to ask you something regarding the practicality of measuring soil health. Are there any indices around the world that could tell you whether this soil is healthy or not? For example, listening to soil or the sound of soil, sound of worms living in the earth. Do you think this could be something that could potentially help scientists at the beginning and then people to really realize or understand the health of the soil? At least put an index to it, for example. Thank you.
I'm sorry, please can you just repeat the last part?
Yeah, so I guess I'm asking that, do you think sound of the soil, if you actually… Sound of the soil, if you are able to listen to the earthworms in the soil or all the microbial life living in the soil, do you think it could be an index that can allow people to measure soil health? Thanks.
Well, is the Earthworm Band creating some music for us? Yes, they are, that we must understand this. What you can hear in your ears is just a small band of frequencies. What is below that is called subsonic, what is over that is called ultrasonic. You don't hear both subsonic and ultrasonic sounds. Most beings of the earth, most creatures of the earth, including of water like whales and even elephants, they all communicate in subsonic sounds. There's a lot of work in that area. We know that even insects and worms are communicating in a certain way. To such an extent, this is why it's very important. As human beings, we have drawn boundaries, cut this world like a cake, this is my piece, that's your piece, this is your piece, that's my piece, and we're fighting over that endlessly. But for the life in the soil, there is no such borders, there is no such boundaries, because the communication between them is happening across the globe. There is substantial studies establishing that. Is it necessarily sound as you know it? Because for you, sound is only what you hear, but every reverberation is a sound. Where there is a vibration, there is a sound, isn't it? The question is only whether you can hear it or not. Most of it you cannot hear it. See, to put it in many different ways, right now, if you pick up your phone and do this, you hear the voice. But the voice is already in the air, isn't it? Otherwise, how will your phone pick it up? Your phone is an instrument which is transforming a certain vibration into a hearing mode for you. So similarly, there is reverb about every life. Not only life, even inanimate things have their own reverb. Are you sensitive enough to hear this? If you have to, as I said earlier, the problem is you have too much information, you have no attention. All the young people, I want you to get this. Without attention, without very serious, keen attention towards life, no door in the universe will open. You'll just have stuff in your head. You will not experience anything. So, if you pay attention, yes, I wouldn't call it sound because people understand sound in a certain way, but there is a language to nature. It is always speaking. Are you willing to listen is the only question. See, I am not a… people are asking me, Sadhguru, when did you become a soil scientist? I never said I am a scientist. I am a worm. I crawled on this planet, I've lived here for 6.5 decades. I'm alive and I know how life works here. Oh, we also lived on the planet, how come we do not know? No, you did not live on the planet, you living in your head. You have misunderstood your psychological space for existential reality. That is the biggest problem. You must listen to the earth, very important. Please.
Very much
Okay.
for giving us this beautiful talk today. Within your talk, you mentioned that we are soil and we are going to be back to soil. I wonder, would you promote like…
Little closer, if you can hold the microphone.
Yeah.
Microphone little closer, yeah.
Yeah, would you promote like people be buried or even allow them to be eaten, the remains of the people to be eaten by scavengers or something, to return them to the soil rather than about 30% of the humans are being cremated and we're denying the soil of the most important nutrients that goes back to it. Would you promote that?
And thank you. Question,
So-
what are the specific actions we can take as activists and as people who care about the soil? Tell us, Guru, what are the actions as individuals
Okay,
we can
we'll-
take as
we'll
a
come to
follow-up
that.
question? Thank you.
Thank you. So, about how to dispose the dead. Now, well, if you bury, your flesh will become part of the soil very soon, very quickly. That is if you bury without a box, which you're not doing anymore, I think. Your bones will take a certain amount of time. If you cremate, everything is done in 90 minutes and then normally in India they will cremate and spread the ashes in 3 different rivers. There are different reasons for that, I will not go into that now, but that's another way of putting it back into the earth. I'm saying, at this point, sir, I would request you at this point, people ask me these kind of questions, people ask me, Sadhguru, if we give up meat eating, will it be better? I don't want to talk about any of these things because I want meat eaters, I want cremators, I want burial people, I want people who feed it to the birds, I want all of them on the side of soil. We don't want to divide the world on those who cremate versus those who bury. Because because most human beings are just waiting for a difference, how you and me can fight. Oh, you are a cremation person, I'm a burial person, so we will fight endlessly. So many fights have happened like this already. So at this point in the life of this generation, please every one of you commit yourself not to dig for differences, please dig for a common ground. That is what is most important. About what individual people can do in terms of what we can do physically, or you said, I think I heard the word activist, did I? Okay. As an activist, what do I do? See, this is the most important thing. We always think physical action is more important than other things we can do. Right now, I am telling you, at this point, the most important thing is to use your voice. Use your voice in a responsible way, not in a resentful way, not in a hateful way, not against somebody, but as one humanity, we must use our voice, because why I'm telling you this is, if it is not enshrined in the policy of nations in the world, whatever good things we may do will not last. See, you have your land, I have my land, both of us are taking care of this wonderfully well. Where is the guarantee that the next generation will take care of it? This is all that's happened, isn't it, right now? It was good and in 1 or 2 generations we've destroyed it. So if you and me take care of it well, there is still no guarantee that it'll be taken care of in the next generation. We are looking at policy because once it becomes the law, it stays that way and generations to come have to follow it. For example, I'm not familiar with this city, but in any city, there will be an old part of the city. If you go there, you will see homes are built wall to wall. There is no concept of a window in these homes. You have such homes in your city? Definitely you will have. Any old city always has this. Only one door to go walk in and walk out. But today, if you want to build a home in this city, there are laws which tell you, if you have 10,000 square feet of land, you can't build 10,000 square feet building, you have to build only 6,000–7,000, you must allow some space for yourself, your neighbor. If you build more, somebody will come and demolish it, yes or no? But if you have 100 acres of land, you can plow every inch of it, and rich land, in 10–15 years, you turn it into a desert, nobody will ask you, why have you done it? Because there is no law. This is all that's happened to the soil. And always there is a whole lot of talk about, let us save the rainforest, let's save the ocean. I want you to understand, probably most of these people don't know what's a rainforest. I've lived in forests for long periods. You don't have to do anything about rainforest. If you stay out, it will come back. The same thing with ocean, our footprint in the ocean, if you withdraw a little bit, ocean will just bounce back. We are talking about 70% of the earth's land, which is agricultural land. What agricultural land means is, this is a piece of geography where every day human hand is tending to it and ruining it. The part of the world where human hand is tending should be in the best condition, but unfortunately it's in the worst condition. So, men and women are tending to this land on a daily basis, but we are doing what we are doing. This is the easiest piece of land to turn around. And this is not just a piece of land, this is also our food, this is also our economic activity, this is also the well-being of nations and the power of nations, if you want to look at it that way. So this piece of land has to be nurtured. What we are talking about is raising the organic content. We are not talking about, because these things were mentioned, I'm saying, I am not talking about organic farming, I am not talking about regenerative farming, I am not talking about any kind of philosophy. Because for me, agriculture is not a religious process, not a philosophical process, it's just a practical activity which is for our nourishment and economic well-being of the people who engage in it. So, it's extremely important we see it that way. People who live in cities should not promote any kind of agriculture. You must just let the farmer decide what kind of agriculture he wants to do. Only thing I am asking is, wherever your organic content is right now, if governments offer a certain incentive, economic incentive for the farmer, to get it to 3%, because 3% is considered as minimum organic content to keep the microbes alive and well-fed. That's what it is. 3% is not the ultimate. If you raise the organic content to 8 to 10%, the irrigation requirement in the world will come down to 30% of what we are using right now. That is, if you're using, let's say, 100 million liters of water, it'll come down to 30 million liters of water. If you raise it to 12 to 15%, it will come down to 10 to 15%. That is, in a given plant, if you're using 100 liters of water, it can be brought down to 10 to 15 liters because the moisture holding capability of the soil is greatly enhanced only when there is organic content, and in turn there is microbial activity. Life happens and holds water. If we keep the soil in good condition, we can store 800% more water in the soil than what is there in all the rivers of the world put together. That is the capacity of the soil. Right now, soil has turned into sand because we pulled out all the organic content. So this is a basic thing. There are many other issues, not that we are not concerned about it. There are many other issues, no question about it. Are they important? Very important. But it's like this. Right now, my ankle is hurting. It is not, I'm just telling. My eyeballs are hurting, it is. My liver, something is going on funny. Now 3 specialists arrived, my orthopedic, my ophthalmologist and the liver person, all 3 arrived. But suddenly I discovered I have cancer which could kill me in the next month. Tell me, which should I attend to first? What is life and death is what you attend to first, isn't it? Right now we are talking about soil extinction, that means the death of the soil. If you do not attend to this, all the other problems, see, for a dead man, all problems are gone, isn't it? Hello? Have you ever been to a funeral? Huh? You've seen that man like that. You go tell him in his ear, you know, look at your little baby, she's come. You tell him, here you won a lottery, $1 billion. Whatever the hell you tell him, because that's what death means. Once you take life out of it, nothing matters. Right now, that's where we are. We are taking the life out of the soil. If we don't put that back, all the other concerns which are important to be attended to, but none of them will matter. Now why I am refusing to tell you even a small thing that you could do by yourself for your self-satisfaction is, the time for self-satisfaction is gone. We must all focus on the solution. You roll up your hands, you roll up your sleeves and go and fix your kitchen garden. This is very cute of you, but it's not a solution. So this is important, that you and me don't start doing things which personally satisfies us, because the time for that is gone. The time for fixing my backyard, you must fix it, I'm not saying you should not, but the time for fixing that and thinking I have done what I have to do is gone. The solution needs to be beaten down, not by 1 or 2 people, by the entire population. I am only asking for 60%. Hello? Will you give me 60%? Thank you very much. Thank you. There is a soil anthem, a simple song that we created. It's not really a song, just a sound, you know, it's like the sounds that you're talking about. Please listen to it and make sure that it reverberates in your family, in your community, in your nation and across the world, because these are simple ways to connect the world and make them feel like one, because we are one. We come from the same soil. We come from the same soil. We go back to the same soil. Let's make it happen.